Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of This Old Cook. If it's your first time here, then just welcome. We're going to jump straight in today. We're going to make some lovely chicken stock. I always save my carcasses from roast chickens, put them in the freezer, and then when I've got probably 3 or so carcasses, then I have a stock day. It's a great thing to do on a miserable rainy day. It's quite therapeutic to make. So without further ado, we'll go over there, get set up. I'll show you what ingredients I'm going to use. It's really easy, this one. So back in a minute. Right, so what I've got here, as you can plainly see, I've got 2 large onions, which I'm going to chop into chunks. I've got 4 carrots. I've got 3 celery sticks, a bunch of thyme, not lemon thyme, and some fresh bay leaves. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 fresh bay leaves. If you can't get fresh bay leaves or you don't have access to them, then just use dried, but only use 3 dried because they're a little bit more stronger in flavour, I find, than the fresh ones. And I've also got some whole black peppercorns here. And here you can see I've got a giant bowl of leftover roast chicken that I've taken from the freezer, thawed out, and pulled into pieces. So that's our ingredients. You don't need to see me chop up the veg. So I'll get that done. We'll move over to the cooker and then we'll crack on. Right, okay, hope you can see that all right. Let's crack on. I've got the stock pot you can see here is quite a large one. It's 7.6 litres because we've got quite a bit of chicken here. So I'm going to go straight in with the carrots and the onions. I've got the temperature set to sort of medium high. I'm just going to add a little drizzle of oil, just rapeseed oil or canola oil if you're in America. I'm going to go in with the celery. Got my bay leaves here and my thyme and my peppercorns. Right, I've got a little jug here, and I keep that on the side. When the chicken goes in and the water starts to come to a simmer, if you get any foam or anything on the top, you just skim it off and put it in there. Just going to turn the temperature down to about 10 on this induction cooker here. So I would guess that to be yeah, on the higher end of medium, if that kind of makes sense, which it probably doesn't, but anyway. Don't burn the onions. Smelling good. The Holy Trinity: carrots, onions, celery. It's a really good stock. It's very rich in flavour. It's quite a concentrated stock. Everything from the chicken goes in: the skin, the bones, everything. Um, if you don't keep carcasses but you still want to make a good chicken stock, but you want to make it quite cheap, then just go to the supermarket or whatever and buy frozen chicken legs and thighs, that kind of thing. They're cheap enough to buy, and then roast them. roast them at about 200 degrees centigrade for about an hour, and you'll get that lovely roasted chicken flavour, which is kind of what we're after here, really. So we're just gonna, in terms of chefy chef's things, sweat that down. I don't really know what that means, but it's smelling good. What I've also done is boiled the kettle, because I like to do this with hot water. I'm not going to give quantities of water, but you'll see um, how it doesn't really matter on the quantities. All you need to do is make sure you've got everything covered in hot water. So uh, I'll give this about another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll come back and I'll show you where it is. Right, so that's been about 5 minutes now. Um, the smell of the onions is really nice. So what I'm going to put in now is the thyme, nice bunch of thyme, the bay leaves, but I'm not going to put the peppercorns in yet. The reason I don't put the peppercorns in is they'll float to the top. So if you get any foam or scummy bits coming off the chicken, and you try and scoop that out, you'll be scooping out half the peppercorns, and peppercorns are like really dear. So I'm going to go in with the chicken now. Just move my lid out of the way. Keep the herbs underneath the chicken, otherwise they'll float to the top as well. Pack it in. Don't be afraid to pack it in. Get it all in, all that lovely chicken flavour stuff. It'll cook down, so don't worry. It looks a lot, but it will cook down. Make sure you get that skin in as well. There's a lot of flavour in that. Yeah, there is some fat, but you know what? The fat will come to the top. I'll show you that after, and you can. What happens is, just bear with me a second. I'm just gonna wash my hands. when you cool this down, and the fat rises to the top, I put it in like takeaway containers, um, and put it in the fridge. Once it's got completely cold, I put it in the fridge, and what will happen is the fat on the top will solidify, and at that point, if you don't want it in there, then you can take it out, but it has a lot of flavour. The other thing you'll notice that I haven't put in is salt. There's a big rule with making stock: never salt the stock when you're making it, because when you use it in a dish to make sauces or gravy or even soup, at that point you add the salt. Otherwise, if you're making something else that contains salt, then you could end up with a dish that's overly salty, and you don't really want that. So what I'm going to do now is just, I've got a kettle of boiling water. I'm just going to add that. It looks full, and it is full. Love the way I poured that everywhere. So that was boiling water. Um, so now we can just top it up with a bit of cold. I just like to start off with a bit of boiling water, just so the chicken heats up quite quickly once it's in the pot. Just let me get some more water. More. I'm going to turn it up to full power now because I want it to come to a simmer. Bit more. That'll do. We're going to simmer this for 4 hours. Just let it gently clock. When we get to that stage, when it's at that stage, I'll come back and show you what the next little bit is. Right, so it's up to the simmer now. I'm going to turn the temperature down, and I'm going to pop in a little handful of peppercorns. Just that kind of much, really. Teaspoon, dessert spoonful, and pop them in now. What I'm also going to do is turn the temperature down, because what I want this to do is not boil like this. I want it to, I call it like clock. So it just goes gently. So I'm going to turn that down to I've put it on number 3 here. Your cook will probably be different. They all are. We will be putting a lid on it. Some of the foam that's kind of gathered, I've scooped off and just put in that little jug, which I'll discard. Now, if you haven't watched to this far, you're gonna miss this bit, and this bit is my little cheat secret to really top flavor, and that is, you've heard me speak about these Knorr chicken stock pots. In this much stock here, I add 4 of these. They add really good flavor to your stock. As I said before, don't be afraid to cheat with stuff. It's not really a cheat. You're doing what you want, you know. It's you do what you want. People go, oh no, you can't put that stuff in there, and I dare say I get loads of bad messages like I've already had. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let that clock. I don't know if you can quite see it. It's not boiling. It's just clocking on the surface. So I'm gonna put a lid on that now. Leave a little gap, so because it will reduce. Don't worry, it looks pretty full, but it's going to reduce considerably, which obviously increases the flavor somewhat. So you don't need to do anything now. Just leave it alone for no more than 4 hours. 4 hours seems to be about optimum flavor wise, I think. So with that having said, I'll see you in about 4 hours. We'll come back. It's going to have changed color significantly. It's going to look really rich and golden. So see you in a minute. Right, okay, it's been 4 hours now. So this is done. It's looking a beautiful color. It smells really lovely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to strain it off through a coarse strainer, and then through a fine strainer, and then I'm going to decant it. So once I've done that, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So just back in a second. Right, so I've strained it now twice, once through a coarse mesh sieve and then through a very fine mesh sieve, and we've got this beautiful chicken stock. Lovely color. Look at that golden. It smells gorgeous. So what I'm going to do now is decant it into some containers. I always save these, the old takeaway containers. So I'm going to do that and see sort of how much we get out of it, and then I'll let you know just shortly. So there we are then, just about 5 litres of chicken stock. These are 1 litre containers. Don't fill them to the top because obviously when it freezes, it'll expand and it'll blow the top off. You don't want that. So what I do now is just let it cool down to room temperature and then put it in the fridge overnight. And what will happen is all the chicken fat is going to come to the top, and then in the fridge overnight it will solidify. So if you don't want to use any of the fat in it, once it's solidified, you can just scrape it off, and the underneath, because of all the chicken bones, the underneath will be almost set like a kind of jelly. But the flavour is immense. It's really good. So you can use it in stews, in sauces, in gravies, or you can even make a lovely chicken broth with it. As I said before, don't salt it until you're going to use it. So that's kind of it, really. So I hope you like that. Just a kind of a quick video. Took a little while to cook, but you just leave it to clock over. It makes some of the best chicken stock you'll ever have. So please do have a go at it. Don't throw your chicken carcasses away. Stick them in the freezer. Keep your takeaway containers because they're perfect for this. Now coming up next is going to be my stuffed mushroom starter on a crispy crouton. It's a good one, so keep your eye out for that, and I'll see you then.